Oh.
So I think we're gonna move forward with everything on the agenda, so it's just gonna be. You just follow under CPNC when you want.
Good morning, council members and members of the public. We are going to start this Public Works, Sanitation, and Environmental Committee meeting. And we do have a quorum, so I'll ask for the roll call.
Councilmember Thomas. Councilmember Jeruso.
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember King is absent. Councilmember
Here.
Green.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Councilmember Thomas, who is not here, is only not here because he's doing a speech or commemoration of Purple Heart related matter in his district today. So in his absence, he asked me to move forward with the agenda. So members of the council, we're going to start off with number 5, because that discussion involves someone who is here at present, Mr. Wesley Pfeiffer of Pfeiffer Consulting, and it addresses the matter that is in this particular publication. So if you will come forward, Mr. Pfeiffer, and identify yourself and give your address, and then be sure to sign that notice relative to your presentation.
Good morning, council members. I appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning to speak on the state of ground transportation and relative to the ordinance that's being proposed to be changed. My name is Wesley Pfeiffer. I represent Pfeiffer Consulting and Construction Services. Many of you may know me for my tenure here as the director of the Ground Transportation Bureau from 2016 to 2020. I now am attempting to assist the ground transportation industry, taxi cabs and their drivers in bringing back their industry back to what it was pre-pandemic. The ordinance that's before you coming up just rectifies some issues caused by the pandemic and just different shifts within ground transportation. I felt it best to give you a quick background with this presentation of how did we get to this point. Essentially for CP&Cs pre-2015, everything expired at the end of the year and everyone was required to come in January. That was all 2,000 plus CP&Cs. It was very inefficient and there were lines that strewn throughout the building. At that point in 2015, then Director of Safety and Permits Jared Munster and One Stop Shop Director Jen Cecil requested 162 amendments that outlined everything to where taxis were in 1 month, limos in another, and it spread it throughout the whole year. From 2016 to 2019, that greatly reduced the wait times between the application and issuance of CP&Cs. And pre-pandemic, the office was issuing majority of the permits within the same day and 3/4 of them within 2 weeks. At that point, holders were sent out renewal packets. The month prior to the issuance of CP&Cs or the renewals of the CP&Cs, every holder would be sent out an email and a mail packet with all their information, the applications, just a, here's a one-stop shop, so to speak, of your renewal. Here's your renewal day, be at City Hall or our office, and we would get you in and out. That all changed in 2020. Cyber attack had a very limited impact, but in March through May, the office was closed to the public. When the office reopened on May 18th through the end of November, there was a drive-up renewal system. Holders and drivers were able to come to the RTA office where the GTB was located and go curbside, drop off paperwork, staff would renew it, run it back out, 15-20 minutes in and out. In December of that year, the drive-up was discontinued, the office was closed to the public, and the only ability holders had were to email everything to gtb@nola.gov. As you can imagine, this led to a huge backlog, a lot of confusion with taxi renewals for 2021. The idea of October, November of the previous year was to get everything on the online one-stop app to allow cab drivers, limo drivers to do their renewals. Notices had been sent out, stating as such, but for the beginning of 2021, there was an about face policy wise. This led up to a lot of confusion on the end of the holders. They were not able to renew. They were waiting for their renewal dates and times to come to the office to renew. And many were just left in limbo. So which led to, in 2021, a lot of CPNCs not being renewed. Up until that point, CPNCs had a 90-day renewal. If you expired on December 31st for taxis, you had January, February, March to renew. If you didn't renew by March, you could be revoked, but the standing policy since 2016 was you would have the maximum allowed timeframe to renew. While the code says that CPNCs can be revoked, the director of the department or designee was able to make a determination based off mitigating factors to allow holders to come in late. The policy under my tenure was, we'll give you the most allowed time, which was 3 years for taxi cabs and 1 year for everyone else. And when you come in, just pay your renewal fees, pay your delinquent fees, and let's just make it work. Everybody move on. That worked rather well up until the pandemic. During the pandemic, with everything, the ground transportation industry falling apart and with the lockdown, we were able to get the fees waived, which allowed everyone to just come in as they were entering back into the market. In 2021, sometime mid-year, that policy had an about face, again, with no notice to the industry and without any warning. And where we're at now is anyone who hasn't renewed since the pandemic for whatever mitigating factors is unable to renew. And the biggest issue is that revocations now are not proactive, where we get to a certain point where these CPNCs should be revoked and mass letters are sent up for hearings. It's only when the holders are trying to come into the office to renew. And I've had several of my clients and different contacts come in and say, I'm willing to pay the fees. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to bring my number current, but I'm not being allowed to. So this is really step one in getting things back to pre-pandemic levels for the ground transportation industry. Getting some code revisions and also moving towards getting the one-stop app online permitting process available to CPNC holders. Prior in 2020, everything was already programmed, policies were written, everything was there. And I'm hoping that long-term we can work with ground transportation and the industry to get it to where they can renew online and not just through email. One of the main issues right now is if I have one driver who's had his number for 30 years, he went to renew his taxi number this year, submitted everything in January. In February, his insurance expired. By March, when the office was there to renew it, they said, well, sir, your insurance is expired. So they had to go back, ask for his insurance. He then went to the bottom of the renewal pile. By putting everything in Llama and through the online system, holders can update their paperwork in real time. So if it's been updated in the system, but hasn't been reviewed, they can update it as they see fit. And this takes a lot of the effort away from the staff who just need to review. The ordinance change effectively just gives the opportunity to all the holders that for a myriad of reasons due to the pandemic may or may not have renewed, or the individuals, as I said, that were revoked for attempting to come to compliance, allows them to have their number reinstated. I thought that that was a key point, was that the individuals who were revoked for non-renewal have the ability to get their number reinstated, because there are many people who haven't done any action, but would benefit from the extended period to get their number reinstated. And I just wanted to make sure that we're extending that to everyone who may or may not have their number revoked for non-renewal.
Okay. Thank you for that presentation. And you've been, of course, in consult with Councilman Thomas. You had conversations with him, right? So everything was good, just so the public knows.
So
Members of the council, Councilman Jeruso, Councilman Harris, any comments? Well, I appreciate the presentation and I appreciate the summary here. Are there any public comments? I have no cards. Are there any online comments? I want you to get a yellow card after you make your comments. You have 2 minutes Please introduce yourself and give your address, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Rob Lynch. I own Bike Taxi Unlimited, pedicab company, and that is located at 631 Elysian Fields Avenue. And I do appreciate addressing these issues with the CPNCs. I would also think that something that would tie into this and would be of useful consideration is the fact that this long time frame is also the same for drivers trying to get permitted. It will take 2 to 4 months for a driver to be permitted with via one stop, and the same thing happens if something expires. They get pushed to the bottom of the pile, and it's especially concerning for someone that goes in to renew a permit. If it takes 2 to 4 months to get renewal, they're out of work for 2 to 4 months. So
I encourage you to make your suggestions in writing to the members of the council or the appropriate committee. But just make sure that we know specifics relative to the concerns that you have.
I will.
Okay, I look forward to getting that correspondence from you. Are there any online comments? Well, thank you, Mr. Pfeiffer, for your presentation. It's brief, but it's pretty straightforward. We appreciate this information, and we as council members will look forward to addressing the issue at the appropriate time on the council agenda.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate the time and the opportunity to be here to speak on this issue.
Okay, thank you. All right, council members, we're going to go in reverse. Again, item number 4. I'm just kind of, very honestly, there are some times when I'm put in a position and I just read what's here. It says discussion of, but yes, we should probably vote unless there's a reason that, yes, okay, yes. Would you like to move that we approve this ordinance calendar number 34-266? So moved by Councilman Jeruso, seconded by Councilmember Harris. All in favor? Aye, no opposed. So this issue will be added to the agenda for Thursday. Item number 4 is a discussion of a motion adding the president of the council as a signatory to amendment number 2 to the contract between the City of New Orleans and Materials Management Group. We have Mr. Kim DeLarge here today, who will present briefly in support of this proposal to add the president of the council this motion. Thank you, Mr. DeLarge.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So Materials Management Group is a great partner with the city. They have, and I just took over EMD and operations in March, and I've noticed that Materials Management Group is a great partner. They have done significant upgrades to our fuel stations. They manage our fuel stations. We have a lot of things planned. We have Alvar fuel station coming back online. They've helped us improve lighting. They've helped us upgrade our fuel tanks. They are helping us get away from, help us use our own equipment so we can save approximately about $200,000 a year. So they have done a lot of different things. They help with the environmental testing. They're here at City Hall, closing up those old things, getting us in compliance. I submitted a list of these upgrades to Councilmember Thomas, who's not here today, but that's pretty much what it is. And they're well within budget, and it's just a normal process and procedure, and we just like the council's approval.
That was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Thank you, very honestly. Members of the council, this would involve an extension of an agreement already with Materials Management Group. Any comments? No comments? Okay. No, that's all right. That's all right. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. That's why. For the members of the public who are watching, I would just, first, I guess we do have a comment card. Is it on this matter? Okay. Let me just make sure. It was just presented to me, but it was already, the person already spoke. So item number 4, just for the members of the public, this is an extension of a contract with Materials Management Group, which manages the city's fuel operations. In partnership with Materials Management Group, the Equipment Maintenance Division has made specific improvements to the city's fueling stations since 2021. And some of the specifics are below, and they will be made available online if anybody would be interested in hearing some of those specifics, such as the upgrades and the replacements that are taking place. More future improvements are planned. This is a request for a 1-year extension, the maximum cost being $5 million. Materials Management Group is a registered disadvantaged business enterprise group with the City of New Orleans. Are there any online comments? Council members, may I entertain a motion to approve motion 23-324? Moved by Councilmember Harris, seconded by Councilmember Jeruso. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Good to see you, Mr. Lord. I like that tie that you're wearing.
Thank you.
That's right.
Did you see the Saints sign, they Saint Algrad?
Yes, I did.
I just wanted to know.
We'll be celebrating Thursday. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. DeLarge. Great high school, too. All righty, going back to number 3. A motion adding the president of the council as a signatory to the loan agreement and 3 accessory agreements between the city of New Orleans and St. Bernard Circle Apartments, LLC. Is there a member of the administration that wishes to speak on such a matter? Okay, thank you. At the end of the day, just, you don't have to fill in the card. You're making a presentation. That's fine. Okay,
Great, thank you very much. Chris Clement with HRI Communities. We are a member of the joint venture development team for St. Bernard Circle Apartments at 142931 St. Bernard Avenue. We appreciate the committee taking up this issue today. Hopefully with the approval here, we'll go to full council tomorrow for approval of the home loan agreement. This home loan agreement allows for the construction of 51 mixed income apartments as well as ancillary commercial space on St. Bernard Avenue, around 2,000 square feet. In summary, key elements of this project, it is a component of the Iberville Treme Choice Neighborhoods Initiative, which, as you're aware, is a partnership between the city and Hano, funded through a HUD grant to revamp the entire Iberville Treme neighborhood. Other key components are this project focuses on disaster resiliency. We've built to all fortified gold multifamily standards for structural integrity and enhancements, as well as enterprise green communities for sustainability and green best building practices. Again, we'll serve a wide span of income levels for the tenants, for everywhere from 20% of the area median income up to full market rate incomes. That translates to rents ranging from around $300 a month up to around $1,300 a month on the market rate end. Again, that's the project in a nutshell. I don't want to take up any more time than needed, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
okay. Thank you very much for that presentation. Members of the council, any questions? Well, this has been pretty straightforward. Thank you very much. Of course, you know, it'll be on the council agenda tomorrow. It's not on the consent agenda, but it's important that you might be present in case anyone will have a question.
Absolutely, we'll be here.
Okay,
Thank you.
may I entertain a motion to approve M23-320?
I'll move for approval.
Moved by Councilmember Jeruso, seconded by Councilmember Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No online comments, right? Okay, we'll move back to number 2 to approve the minutes from the January 25th, 2023 meeting. Yeah, so moved by Councilmember Harris,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Jeruso. All in favor? Aye. Those minutes are approved. There being no other matters before the body at this time, I move for adjournment. Second. Probably moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Yeah. Was a record set.